Scorpio, welcome to your astrology reading for the month of May. And so the way that this is structured, this is going to be most applicable for your rising sign, which is how other people perceive you. It is still applicable for your sun sign, so that is how you express yourself, and then also your moon sign, which is how you process everything emotionally. And so just kind of jumping right into this, there is a lot of energy happening here in the signs of Taurus and Gemini. And so what this means for you specifically, so Taurus is your opposite sign, so there's a lot of impact here on significant relationships. Usually some sort of marriage, could also be other really one-to-one relationships here, could indicate contracts, negotiations, those could be highlighted. There is also a connection with the 8th house here, and so the 8th house is kind of like your natural house. Not everybody sees it that way, but anyway, so the 8th house is all about death and rebirth. And so it's really embodying those traits that are inherent in you. Very similar energy there. That actually could indicate too, if we're talking about contracts and negotiations, there could be some sort of impact here on money coming in from an outside source. And so kind of just starting out with the month, we do have Pluto station retrograde in the sign of Aquarius. And so it's been in Aquarius since late January, since January 20th. And so what's been happening is we've been watching a lot of external change, a lot of old structures and systems that just don't work anymore. They need to come down. It's like seeing all the flaws, maybe really for the first time. And while all of that has been external, once Pluto stations retrograde, everything kind of directs inward. And so now we're in this internal reflection, and this would be some sort of internal change here. And so where this impacts you in your chart is in your 4th house of home. And so when Pluto stations retrograde, it's actually going to be trine Jupiter in Taurus. And so Jupiter in the sign of Taurus is going to create or wants to expand some sort of significant relationship here. But what's happening is there's something that you're internally processing, some sort of change, removing of barriers when it comes to your home and your home life. And it's creating some sort of positive experience here in those significant relationships. Again, probably marriage if you're married. If you're not married, significant other, or really those one-to-one relationships, those really significant relationships in your life. It is trying to grow this here. So all of these changes that are taking place are creating growth within your significant relationships. We'll also have Pluto trine Uranus in Taurus. And so what this retrograde is doing, when you're making some sort of internal change and you're thinking about your house differently or your home life differently here, it's also helping you to see what doesn't belong in your relationship anymore. Maybe there was things that you were holding on to that just don't need to be there. Uranus in Taurus wants to get rid of anything, because Uranus is all about sudden change, and it wants to get rid of anything that's not grounded in reality. That's where Taurus likes to be. Taurus is a very stable sign, and so if it's not going to create some sort of stability, it's out. We'll also have Pluto sextile Mars in Aries, and so Mars in Aries is all about taking action. Mars is the ruler of Aries, so it feels very comfortable here. It's really that energy amplified. And so whatever you're thinking and whatever you're feeling and changing within your home environment is creating an opportunity for you to have the daily life that you're looking for, because that's the Mars and Aries energy. We'll also have Pluto sextile Neptune and Pisces. And so I love Neptune and Pisces. Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. So again, when the planet's in its home sign, it's really amplifying that energy. And where this impacts you is your house of passions and creativity. And so all of these changes that you might be making in your home or in your home life in some sort of way, it's opening up an opportunity for you to really have and go after exactly what you're passionate about. It could be having children. This could be included for sure, but probably more along the lines of hobbies and passions. And if you're not looking for some sort of long-term relationship with somebody, this might open up an opportunity for you to have a short-term type of relationship with somebody. It really just comes down to you and exactly what you're looking for, because not everybody is in a place in their life where they can have children or want to have children. So that's not going to be true for everybody. So it's probably more passions and hobbies. We'll also have Pluto square Venus in Taurus. And so Venus in Taurus, so again, Venus is the ruler of Taurus, so really that energy amplified. This internal reflection and changes and the removing of barriers of maybe the way that you saw your home, this could even be like some sort of ancestral wound that you're trying to heal through that probably recently came to the surface during the month of April. It could be creating some issues in your significant relationships here. It could be, it doesn't feel like, I mean, it's a square, so it's going to be an obstacle or challenge. It's going to have to be something that you work through. It's not going to be that easy energy that just flows. You are going to have to do something about this. But it doesn't feel like it's going to be a deal breaker. This feels a lot like you can work through it. You just have to find a way. And you have to work with the other person for sure, because Venus in Taurus wants to bring things together. Then we have the new moon in Taurus. So that happens on the 7th at 11:22 p.m. Eastern time. And so when that happens, we'll have the sun, moon, Venus, Jupiter, and Uranus all in the sign of Taurus. And so this is all sitting in your 7th house. This is all sitting in that house of marriage, contracts, negotiations. So really those significant relationships in your life. And what it's doing here, because the sun and the moon are at the same degree point in the sky, it's really highlighting what you value in those relationships, what it is that you love about this other person, and really just, this is a really positive kind of lens that you're looking at the relationship through. We'll also have the sun and moon conjunct Venus in the sign of Taurus, and so this is about bringing things together. So where on the 2nd you might have run into some obstacles and challenges, by the time we get to the 7th, you're really seeing this relationship in a positive light here. And so this is giving you a lot of opportunity to really focus on what matters within the connection, because we'll also have the sun and moon conjunct Jupiter. And so what is it that you want to grow within this connection? With Venus, what do you value about the connection? It'll also, the sun and moon will also be conjunct Uranus in Taurus. And so what can you let go of? What's just not working for you anymore? What's not beneficial to the relationship? Let it go. And then we'll have the sun and moon sextile Neptune and Pisces. And so Neptune and Pisces being your 5th house, this could be related to children. If you are married and you're in that place in your life where you're thinking about having kids or you want to have kids, the way that this relationship is growing, it is actually providing an opportunity here to have children if that's what you're looking for, or really go after your passion projects. And it's really kind of getting the support from this other person to pursue your interests. We'll also have Mercury enter Taurus. So that happens on the 15th, and that happens at 1:05 p.m. Eastern time. When this happens, we're just past the Mercury shadow. So when Mercury was retrograde, internal communication, then it went direct, then it stationed direct on the 25th of April. And so since then until the 13th, it was in that shadow. So there still could be some like muddy confusion, not very clear communication taking place. But now on the 15th, I mean, this is very clear. And so Mercury entering Taurus, again, Taurus, very practical, very grounded, very stable energy. And Mercury, it's like, okay, let's really talk about this. Let's really understand what's happening here as that planet of communication and processing information. And so love to see that coming into here. Mercury will trine the moon in Leo. The moon in Leo is all about your self-expression. And so the impact here for you, so obviously Mercury is entering your house of significant relationships, your marriage partner. Trine moon in Leo, that's your 10th house. So there's a connection here between maybe conversations that you're having with your significant other, and it's maybe opening up doors for you to go after what you want from a career standpoint. I mean, I can already see earlier that there was during, I believe it was the new moon. Yeah, it was the new moon where you're really kind of getting the support from your significant other to maybe go after your passion projects or things that you really care about. This could be another kind of piggyback onto that. So let's stack more energy in that direction and have it go after a career or public reputation. And so really seeing that coming to light here. We'll also have Mercury square Pluto in Aquarius. And so there might be something here within this relationship, with this in this connection, that is creating obstacles and challenges to what you're trying to change about your home life here. And so this could be, again, ancestral wounds that have been coming to the surface that could be happening here. But it is about something here that you want to change in your home life. And it looks like it's creating some sort of obstacle or challenge within your relationship. Maybe the conversations that you're having with this person, because maybe it involves moving. That could be the case. You might have to up and move, or move to, or maybe it's about moving into a different type of house, and now maybe you need to reevaluate that. There could be a lot of things taking place here. And then we'll have the sun enter Gemini. So that happens on the 20th at 9 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. And so we'll have the sun conjunct Venus, Jupiter, and Uranus all in the sign of Taurus. And so we've got the sun in Gemini. So the sun in Gemini is very talkative. very inquisitive, very intellectual, wants to know the details of everything, like really getting into the dirt of the situation to understand everything. But can sometimes get lost in the weeds on that one. And so with the sun in Gemini, that's sitting in your 8th house of transformation, so that death and rebirth, that energy that you're probably very familiar with, conjunct Venus, Jupiter, and Uranus, sitting in that house of your significant other. And so maybe it's about, okay, I'm going through this transformation, and what it's doing is it's actually creating a lot of positive growth, focused here on what you stable, kind of growing the connection with this person, not holding on to any baggage that just doesn't need to be there anymore. So it's positive in that way. We'll also have the sun trine Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. And so now that you're understanding the details, what this is doing here is it's giving you an opportunity to really go after those changes that you're making at home, the way that you're seeing your home, the way that you feel at home, all of those things. It's really opening up those doors, because now it feels like you're seeing things differently because the sun moved in. So it's shining its light on a different piece now. And so the focus here is on transformation. We've got the 8th house transformation, and we've got Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, which is also transformation. We'll also have the sun sextile Neptune in Pisces. And so again, when the sun enters into this Gemini energy, it's also giving you an opportunity to go after your passions. It's really showing you, how do you take this transformation and how do you kind of use that and kind of embrace that so that you can move forward in whatever your hobbies are, maybe having children, all of those things, whatever it is that you enjoy doing in your free time. That's what's highlighted by that 5th house. And then we have the full moon in Sagittarius. And so we have a couple things happening on the 23rd. This is the first one, and this has a lot of energy behind it. And so we'll have the full moon in Sagittarius at 9:53 in the morning, again on the 23rd. And so when this happens, we'll have the sun and the moon at opposite points in the sky. We've got the sun in Gemini, we've got the moon in Sagittarius. The moon in Sagittarius is about seeing the truth of a situation. Where Gemini likes to get into the details, Sagittarius is very big picture. And so this is where there is this kind of push-pull energy of maybe a project that you started 6 months ago. You had this really grand idea during the new moon in Sagittarius. And what you're recognizing now is that the details don't line up with the big picture. That would be this type of energy. That's what would be coming to light during this full moon. It is creating this opposition. And so for you, this is actually really focused on finances, because we've got the sun in Gemini sitting in your 8th house, which could be other people's money, so earned income. And it's opposite the moon in Sagittarius. And so that's your personal money. That's money that you already have, maybe investments that you're making here. And so there could be something that maybe you had a savings goal for yourself. And now when you're getting into the details of it, maybe you find that you need to make more money, or you need to go about it differently in order to be able to have that safety and security in your personal finances that you're looking for. Or maybe it's about buying something that you really want here. Maybe you had this goal of getting this really expensive piece of artwork and you weren't able to save up enough money to get it. And so like this would be something else that would be coming to light. It's like, well, I want that, but I don't have the money for it, and I don't bring in enough money for it. And so that would be creating some sort of friction here. We'll have the sun conjunct Jupiter, Venus, and Uranus again in your 7th house. So just like I spoke about a couple of days earlier, that energy is still here, where it's coming down to conversations that you're having with your significant other. There's a lot of growth connected to this, a lot of harmony and balance, and just really focus here on what matters and letting go of the rest. Love to see that. The moon is actually opposite that energy. And so this could really kind of trace back to 6 months when you set these intentions for yourself, or maybe you started this new project for yourself. There's something about it that created obstacles and challenges in your significant relationship. And this might be now coming to light, and you're finally understanding, well, if I'm going to make peace with this, if I'm going to, I want to work on my relationship with my person. And so I need to figure something out when it comes to my personal finances, if I'm going to have that kind of relationship that I'm looking for. We'll also have the moon trine Neptune in Pisces. And so this moon in Sagittarius, so when it comes to your personal finances, Neptune in Pisces, your hobbies, your passions, maybe having children, maybe that's something that you were trying to do here. And now it's really, let's take everything that I have. Maybe I've collected a savings instead of spending it like maybe I originally thought, because there could be a lot of scenarios happening here when it comes to money. Maybe it's about taking what you know about your personal finances and what you've set up for yourself, that big picture, seeing the truth of the situation is now, it's because it's not creating an opportunity. It's really, it's a blend of the energy. It's aligning. That's the word I was looking for. It's aligning with what you're trying to pursue from a hobbies and passion standpoint, maybe having children, something along those lines. And the sun is also in a positive aspect to Neptune and Pisces. It's a sextile energy, so this would be something that you have to act upon. But with this sun in Gemini, this could be outside money coming in that could also create an opportunity for you to go after what you have. So it's not just about the money that you have that's opening up doors for you to really pursue your passions and hobbies, things like that. But it could be money coming in from an outside source is also going to amplify that. And it really gives you this opportunity to really go down that path. We'll also have the sun trine Pluto retrograde in the sign of Aquarius. And so this is, again, all about transformation as it relates to your home life, as it relates to maybe what you're trying to do for yourself here, that 8th house energy, your own death and rebirth, and really understanding the details and really understanding, okay, this is what I'm trying to do and this is what I'm trying to change. And so in order to make that happen, you're really understanding the details and you're really maybe asking the questions, even if it's to yourself, about, okay, well, how do I change? How do I change my view on this, the way I'm going about this? All of this could be coming into play for you. We'll have the moon in Sagittarius sextile this Pluto retrograde. So this is where the moon's now creating an opportunity. So really seeing the truth of the situation and really understanding how it all lines up from a big picture perspective. It's giving you an opportunity to really continue making those changes in your home life that you're looking for. And then later that day, we'll have Venus enter Gemini. And so when that happens, so that's going to be at 4:31 in the afternoon, whereas the full moon was at 9:53 in the morning. So you're going to see a lot of similar energy happening here because it's the same day. So the planets haven't gone very far, except for Venus that decided to change signs. And so Venus coming into the mix, Venus will be conjunct the sun in the sign of Gemini. This is sitting in your 8th house. So again, all about transformation, but this would be maybe being very friendly, sociable, very direct in your communication, but in a really loving way, maybe even a flirtatious type of way. In that 8th house, this might be different than what you used to do or what you normally do when it comes to conversations with people. I do love to see this because this is direct communication, but in a really friendly, open way. And it could be that you're talking about the changes that you're making in your life. You could be talking about how you're changing on the inside, how you're kind of being reborn right now, and what that means for you. Maybe even when it comes to your 4th house energy, because I'll talk about that in a minute. We'll have Venus conjunct Jupiter and Uranus in the sign of Taurus. And so now what we're talking about here is, again, growth within your significant relationship, maybe marriage, as it relates to maybe understanding the details of coming together, of what it is that you're trying to accomplish here, and really having those kind of really deep conversations, deepening this connection. That's what this feels like, because Venus and Gemini, when it comes to your relationships, really wants to get and really get to know this other person and what makes them tick. How do they really feel about everything? That Gemini energy isn't going to stop until it's that kid that always asks why. It's that kind of energy. There is no end. It's always going to be questioned and really getting into those details here. We'll also have Venus trine Pluto retrograde. And so the Pluto retrograde in the sign of Aquarius, this again would be really understanding the transformation that you're going through, what that's doing for you, what kind of opportunities is that bringing into your life, because this does feel like a rebirth, and it's kind of aiding you in the transition, in these removing barriers, internal barriers in your home life. And so really kind of taking it through that lens. So this is a lot of transformation taking place here. We'll also have Venus sextile Neptune and Pisces. And so this transformation that you're undergoing, really understanding the details of the situation, how do you make this all work for you, is creating an opportunity, again, for you to go after something you're passionate about. 5th house, when it comes to children, again, if this is something that is on your radar, this is something that you've been wanting to do, or maybe not even really wanting to do. This one I would say yes, because it's a sextile, so you have to actually create the opportunity for this to happen. the children are really being highlighted here because there's a lot of change happening at home, a lot of making space, maybe for a child, or maybe even doing some sort of project out of your home that you really enjoy doing, like some sort of hobby or something like that, because I'm also seeing a lot of growth within that significant relationship and a lot of transformation happening within you. So this could not just be mindset shifts, these could be physical shifts as well. And then we'll also have Venus opposite the moon in Sagittarius. And so this Venus in Gemini sitting in your 8th house, again, we're talking about really getting into the details and having some sort of disconnect, creating some sort of obstacle and challenge with the way that you see the big picture when it comes to your finances. So Venus in Gemini sitting in that house of other people's money, it's really, okay, well, I have this savings, but maybe the savings isn't enough, but is my outside income enough? And so there is this disconnect, this obstacle or challenge between the money coming in and the money that you're saving. It feels like it's probably not lining up with a goal that you've set for yourself in some way. And so it's going to require some sort of modification, some sort of meeting in the middle in order to make that happen. Because Venus is going to want to try and find that middle ground here, because Venus likes to bring things together. And then on the 25th, we'll have Jupiter enter Gemini. And so this is really significant too. So there's only 2 benefic planets. We've got Jupiter and we've got Venus. Venus moved into Gemini on the 23rd. Jupiter moves into Gemini on the 25th. And so this is going to happen at 7:15 p.m. Eastern time. And this is also entering your 8th house. So that house of transformation, that death and rebirth energy. We'll have Jupiter conjunct. So Jupiter, Sun, and Venus are all going to be conjunct. And so this is a really blending of the energies. And so this is what you value, what you see about the situation, maybe the way that you're talking about the situation, because we are still sitting in Gemini energy, but the Sun is also self-expression. So a lot of growth connected to this balance that you're finding here within yourself, this balance you're finding within yourself, really coming to terms with exactly what you want, going after it. A lot of harmony being highlighted here, definitely some sort of transformation. We'll also have Jupiter conjunct Uranus in Taurus. And so Uranus still is sitting there in your house of significant others. And so if whatever is just not working in that relationship, and it doesn't need to be there, it's just almost like it's just extra noise in the situation. And that's going to go away because this Jupiter energy is like, well, I'm going to keep going down this transformation path. And in order to do that, I have to let go of what doesn't serve me anymore, what's not going to be beneficial for me going forward. And then we'll have Jupiter trine Pluto in Aquarius. And so this Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, sitting in your 4th house of home, Jupiter in Gemini, what is it you're trying to grow here? Are you trying to grow your finances so that you can make more changes in your home environment? Maybe do an addition. This could be a house renovation. This doesn't necessarily have to be pursuing some sort of passion project or anything like that, although that is also highlighted. But this Jupiter in Gemini with this trine energy, this is going to be a really easy blend of energy. So if there is some sort of financial windfall coming to you, like a bonus or maybe an inheritance of some sort, what this could do is actually give you an opportunity to make some modifications in your home life. And it could be physical modifications to your house. So kind of keep that in mind. It is kind of focused here on growth and expansion. That's the theme here, growth and expansion for you. And then Jupiter will also be sextile Neptune and Pisces. And so this Neptune and Pisces, again, sitting in your 5th house, so it could be children. Because there's a really strong 4th house, 5th house here. So if you're not doing some sort of project out of your home, you might want to have children in your home in some sort of way. And maybe it's not even about, because I'm getting like a grandparent type of scenario pop into my head where it would be like you're taking care of somebody else's kids. You've already raised yours and now you're taking care of somebody else's kids. This could be creating some sort of opportunity for that to happen. But there's also some sort of money connected to it that's coming in, that's growing, that's expanding. And so there might be something there. If there might be something there, because I'm getting that feeling very strongly, that's interesting. So keep that in mind. That could also be a possibility. They don't have to be your own biological children that you would be taking care of. It could be somebody else's. So definitely positive in that way too. But this is all about growth through transformation. That's pretty much how I would sum up, as well as, improving your relationship with your significant other. So Scorpio, this is your reading. I hope it resonates. If it did, please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Take care.